Good morning, my dear students. Today we have Unit 5, Lesson 3, the Great Inventions. And our lesson today is a grammar, and it's talking about the passive. When do we use the passive? This is the first question. When do we use the passive? When you don't know the subject of a sentence. The first case, when we use the passive, when you don't know the subject of a sentence, or when the object of a sentence is more important than the subject. Again, when you don't know the subject of a sentence, or when the subject or when the object of the sentence is more important than the subject. Again, when do we use the passive? When you don't know the subject of the sentence, or when the object is more important than the subject. We have here the passive in the present simple and in the past simple. In the present simple, the passive form is consisted of am, is, are, plus past participle. Past participle means the third form of the verb like play, played, played, swim, swam, swum, run, ran, run. This is the past participle, the third form of the verb. Okay, for example, cotton is grown in Egypt. Cotton is grown in Egypt. Here is and the past participle of the verb grow. So is grown. This is a form of the passive in the present simple. Again, we use am, is, are plus past participle. And here we have the object. We start with the object. So cotton here is the object. Cotton is uncountable noun, so we use is. Grown is the past participle of the verb grow, and in Egypt. Again, cotton is grown in Egypt. In the negative form, we use the object. The lesson isn't explained by the teacher. Again, the lesson isn't explained by the teacher. Here is the lesson is the object. We start in the passive form. We start with the object. Plus am is are in the present simple, and here's a negative sentence, so we use isn't because the lesson is a singular noun. So the lesson isn't explain the past participle or the third verb, the third form of the verb by the teacher, and we can say the lesson isn't explained. We can omit the by the teacher. Okay, in the past simple we transfer am, is, are into or to was and were. So we use was and were plus past participle in the present or in the past simple in the passive case. So we start again with the object. We start with the object plus was and were. Was with the singular noun and were with the plural nouns, and past participle, the third form of the verb. For example, cotton was grown in Egypt. Again, cotton was grown in Egypt. Cotton is the object. Was because we have here uncountable noun, and the third form of the verb grow, grown. The lesson wasn't explained by the teacher, so we use here wasn't. The lesson wasn't explained by the teacher yesterday. So we have was and were, wasn't and weren't. Again, in the present simple passive, we use the object plus am, is, are, plus past participle. For example, cotton is grown in Egypt. And in the negative form, we use the lesson isn't or aren't or aren't, for example. By the teacher. The lesson isn't explained by the teacher. And in the past simple, we use the object followed by was and were, or were plus past participle. For example, cotton was grown in Egypt. The lesson wasn't explained by the teacher. Okay, let's practice. We write the following sentences. Number 1, Hani sent a letter to Omar. Hani sent a letter to Omar. He used or start with a letter. A letter here is the object. So we are in the passive form. So it would be a letter. This sentence first is in the past simple, so we use was and were plus past participle. So a letter was sent to Omar by Hani. Again, a letter was sent to Omar by Hani. We use was here because we are in the past simple. We are in the past simple sent, so we start with the object, a letter was, and the third form of the verb send is sent. So a letter was sent to Omar by Hani. Here is the subject, by Hani. This subject. Number 2, grandma tells good stories. Grandma tells good stories. Which tense is this? This is in the present simple tells. So we use am, the object plus am is are plus past participle. We should start with good stories. Good stories is the object, so we would start with the object here. Good stories. This is plural, so we use are because we are in the present simple. So good stories are told. Told is the past participle of the verb tell. So good stories are told by grandma is the subject. Or we can say good stories are told. Number 3, Shakespeare wrote Hamlet. Use was written. This sentence is in the active form, and we want to use the passive form because we have was written. So Shakespeare is the subject, wrote is the verb, and Hamlet is the object. So we will start with the object here. So it would be Hamlet. Hamlet was written by Shakespeare. Hamlet here is the object. And this sentence is in the past simple, so we use was plus past participle and by here and followed by the subject. We have finished our lesson today. Thank you.